Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today. Welcome to the multiverse. I don't know if you knew, but like the timeline's being altered before our very eyes. And so what we're seeing here today and talking about today is just one of infinite possibilities. We just happen to be living in the timeline where Xbox and Square Enix kind of figured things out and decided to get along. For those who have not really paid attention to the Xbox community, you may be kind of going, okay, what's the big deal with this news, Matty? You're overreacting. No, Square Enix has long neglected Xbox in this on and off relationship, and Xbox in some ways hasn't done the legwork themselves, and this relationship was deteriorating before our very eyes. But today, didn't expect it at all, because with the new Final Fantasy XIV news, we have confirmation that Square Enix and Xbox are working together once again, and oh boy, did they renew their vows. I mean, it's something a little bit more than just Final Fantasy XIV coming to Xbox, which we'll talk about. It's much more. Many Square Enix games have missed the platform, and if you've watched this channel, you know I made a video dedicated to that very topic and was very frustrated about it. Now, I'm lucky enough to have PlayStation, Switch, PC, Xbox, so I can play where I want, but for those who don't, Square Enix is putting out some bangers, all right, when it comes to their JRPG work. My personal game of the year, a little Square Enix game called Octopath Traveler 2 that the first one came to Xbox, but the second didn't, in case you want to know just how weird this relationship is. So it's been really frustrating as an Xbox fan and someone who covers Xbox to watch as Square Enix kind of picks and chooses what they want to bring to the platform. There were moments where we thought, oh, Square Enix is that dude. Like, they're bringing Outriders day one to Game Pass, the first ever third-party day one Game Pass game. Right, like that's the partner you're looking for. But then you see things like Octopath Traveler, and you see things like Final Fantasy VII Remake never coming to Xbox, and you start to get confused. What is this relationship? Well, we have clarity on that today in a plot twist of a move between Xbox and Square Enix. Like I'm talking a complete 180 from the conversations online, the quotes we're reading, and so on and so forth. But I'll get more into that, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for the long intro. If you're new here, you're into Xbox news, information, conversation, discussions, all that great stuff. Consider subscribing. So today was the Final Fantasy Fan Fest 2023, and Phil Spencer showed up at the end, which no one was expecting. So you can see here in this tweet, Phil Spencer posted, enjoyed being on stage with Yoshi P and Kiryu-san. Kiryu-san being the new CEO at Square Enix, very important factor there we'll talk about, to announce Final Fantasy XIV coming to Xbox. We're thrilled that the Xbox community will join the Warriors of Light, and we look forward to partnering closely with Square Enix on future games. All right, so first things first, Final Fantasy XIV, can't front, an MMO I'm really trying to get into. I put 30 hours into the base game and just, it's not jiving with me. Now, what's funny is a buddy and I willed it into existence. I was on Discord last night and we were just shooting the breeze and talking a lot about Final Fantasy, funny enough. And we were talking about 14 and he was saying to me, you got to get back on this game. Give it another try because I cried ugly tears during, I think it's called Endwalker. So I was like, all right, I got to give it another shot. Funny timing this. Now, I don't think I'll wait till it's out on Xbox, but this is a significant get. It's also been like 5-6 years in the making. And it feels like, based off quotes we read from Square Enix and Yoshi P in particular, that they've kind of been avoiding bringing it to Xbox, saying like, oh, we don't really have the tech or the budget for that. And I'm like, you're the biggest MMO, man. Cry me a river. Bring it to Xbox. So finally they did. Xbox had admitted they didn't do enough with it, but now it's finally on the way. What stands out to me more, and I'm not going to breeze over 14, don't worry, we'll talk about it more, but what stands out to me more is the end of that Phil Spencer quote where he says exactly this: we look forward to partnering closely with Square Enix on future games. That's the commitment that I was not expecting. Now, this isn't just a one-way street. Let's read this little snippet of an IGN article titled, Square Enix promises to bring games to Xbox whenever possible following Final Fantasy XIV's announcement, with 16 still being a PlayStation console exclusive. And one more thing, as CEO of Square Enix, we want to continue to deliver fabulous games to fans across the world. And of course, we want to welcome the Xbox community as well. And starting with today's announcement of Final Fantasy XIV coming in spring 2024, and whenever possible, we are planning to bring our games to Xbox for players around the world to enjoy. We're really looking forward to working closely with Phil and the Xbox team to make this possible. In response, Spencer said, thank you, Kiryu-san. We deeply respect the rich legacy of Square Enix, and we look forward to building on the relationship that we have established in bringing Final Fantasy XIV to the Xbox and partnering closely with you and the Square Enix team on future games. So this is a Final Fantasy XIV announcement, don't get it twisted, but this is also an announcement like we're going to be working together moving forward, which is kind of what I heard. Funny enough, the timing will make sense in a moment when I bring up a little clip here, but what I had been told a month ago was that pretty much, and you can take this and run with it or not, was that Xbox had gone to Square Enix with sort of a energy of we're not leaving until we figure out this relationship and how are we going to get Square Enix games on Xbox. And to see it come together here, I'm like, maybe that was true. It was a newer source, so I wasn't going to run with it on my own personal outlets and whatnot, but I felt it's worth passing that by, because the other thing that I had shared on multiple shows was I know for a fact when Octopath Traveler 2 had skipped Xbox, like there were multiple higher up execs who were pissed with a capital P that Square Enix had done this again and skipped the Xbox platform. And believe it or not, to you out there, that may not be a significant game, but Octopath is so peak, man. Y'all gotta play it if you get the chance. Hopefully that comes to Xbox. But here's why this should make some sense for Square Enix to come over here. There were moments early on that Square seemed like that partner for Xbox in terms of being the Japanese game publisher that they're looking for. Kind of like how you see how Xbox and Sega is now. A lot of people thought Square Enix was going to become that. You may not remember this, but when Game Pass first started up, and really it was just loading a lot of back catalog way before the day one Game Pass days, Final Fantasy was one of the bigger announcements for Xbox Game Pass. They were saying all Final Fantasy games were going to come to Game Pass. I don't think that ever ended up actually happening. I believe what actually occurred was they would gradually be brought into the service, but as one left, another would enter. And so it was a much longer term scattershot than I think what was marketed to people. But Square Enix was one of the first to buy in on that capacity and start supplying that JRPG content to Xbox Game Pass. Again, it doesn't need too much repeating, but Outriders coming day one to Game Pass was significant. It was the first ever third-party day one Game Pass game. So there were moments of potential in this partnership here, but there were just so many things that were missing that could not be overlooked any longer. There was Star Ocean missing. You would get something like Final Fantasy Crisis Core Reunion, but you would not get the remake for 7, which is a pretty key piece of the puzzle there that's missed Xbox for a while. Newer games, Dio Field Chronicle, the Chrono Cross remaster, things like Romancing Saga, Tactics Ogre Reborn, Valkyrie Elysium, even Final Fantasy Pixel remaster. Like, these things were just skipping Xbox outright, and people were losing their minds. They're like, what's going on here? So this renewed partnership will likely mean, hopefully, much like what we're anticipating with Persona moving forward. We've talked about this a lot in Defining Duke. Like, all Square Enix games that are not under an exclusivity contract are going to come out on Xbox as well moving forward. And I hope they're really getting hard at work on some ports, and that those are Game Pass games, because I think that'll be a nice boon to people who were very patient. I think that 7 remake announcement will definitely break the internet. While I'm not holding my breath, I also don't want to rule out that this is all transpiring ahead of a heavy marketing campaign incoming for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So does it come to Xbox? I mean, it's possible. Do they kind of do what happened with Octopath Traveler with PlayStation? PlayStation didn't get Octopath 1, but they got Octopath 2. Does Xbox get Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but not 7 Remake? I would be surprised if that were the case. I feel like Square Enix at this point can only win by porting Final Fantasy VII Remake everywhere possible. However, 7 Rebirth on Xbox is definitely a never say never moment now because of the timing of all of this. I'm happy to see this change being made. We have some more details here beyond Square Enix's promise. What is this Final Fantasy XIV version? They describe it here on IGN. Xbox Series X and S versions of Final Fantasy XIV will come with faster loading and 4K support on the Xbox Series X. It's currently planned for release in spring of 2024 with an open beta scheduled for patch 6.5. This means that the upcoming new expansion, Dawn Trail, will be playable on Xbox when it launches in summer of 2024. Of course, the Xbox release will feature cross-platform play, meaning you can pick up your existing accounts on Xbox and play with others on PC and PS5. You will need to purchase a copy of the game separately on Xbox to play, however, unless you're enjoying the free trial, which will soon go all the way up through the Shadowbringers expansion, which is great news for someone like me. I have bounced off this game twice now, and I'm hoping third time's the charm, because I really want to give it a shot, and I want to love it. Like, I was a big RuneScape dude growing up. I want to get back into my MMO grind. Like, SWTOR is probably the closest I got, but to me, it's just like I'm fired up of 8 different single-player games, so it really speaks to me in a particular way, but I want to get the hype for this. I'm not slandering it. I know it's a great game. I want to get absorbed in it. I have a friend who's got thousands of hours in it, and he loves it, like his favorite game ever. I want to see these expansions and why this is some of the best Final Fantasy writing and some of the best video game writing people are saying ever. Like, I got to see what people are talking about, because that whole Realm Reborn section was just MMO the game to me. And I know there's got to be more beneath the surface, but I've heard that base game experience, like, that's not what we're here for. But that's a big commitment to not be there for like 80 hours of gameplay until you finally get into the expansions. But knowing it's all free, that's good stuff there. Now, why is this all happening now beyond Xbox probably stating their demands a bit and Square Enix being more willing to tangle? Why would they be willing to tangle? What changed? This is something I overlooked, and I thought it may be good to just to remind people. They got a new CEO. In fact, there's this headline from a month ago, funny timing, right? Square Enix's new CEO says he would know life Final Fantasy games growing up, proving himself worthy of his new job. And he even made a joke about how his teachers told him not to play more video games, and like, who's laughing now kind of energy with Todd Howard. So I think this is a big factor in it all. I think that having the old guard out and getting in Kiryu-san is all the difference here, really. I think Xbox could have come in like they did last month, if it's true, stated their demands, but like, yo, we're here, and we want to work with you. And if it's the old guard, they might have been sitting there like, okay, that's cool. I'm glad you want it. We don't. But now, with new leadership there, my assumption, this is all speculation, my assumption is I think that they were more willing to play ball with Xbox. And we're going to see to what degree. Right now it is lip service, but we do have a good announcement here in Final Fantasy XIV, which has been in the stars for a while now. Pardon the Xbox-related pun, I suppose, with Starfield. It's been there, out there for a while that it was going to happen. We knew that Xbox wanted it. We knew Square Enix was kind of dodging it. Now they finally figured that out. The question is, truly, not to be that kind of gamer, what is next? What is next? My guess is ports first. Anything new that's announced, I hope is making its way to the platform, but Xbox needs that Japanese support big time. And so here with Square Enix, look, I know a lot of Xbox fans were tired of the games with Square Enix, but the reality is this, and I said this for a while, you can't deny that they're the grandfather of JRPGs. Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy, the list goes on. This is the company that gave birth to the popularity of the JRPG genre. Doesn't mean they had the only popular JRPGs. That's why Xbox is partnering up with Atlas for Persona. But make no mistake, Xbox needed this. I don't know how much Square Enix needed it. We'll see in due time, because a lot of people think they're doing pretty poorly financially, but happy to see this nonetheless. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I've got for you in today's video. Looking forward to seeing your thoughts on this almost impossible partnership here that has finally happened. What do you make of it? Fire away down below. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the heck out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.